Sa kabila ko.
Legends from the hated heavily praised Battle Cats are going to be ranked in this video today. These legends will be determined in their level 30, newest form, relevancy, and anything else on the screen. With that in mind, we can begin the ranking. Legaluga aims to be a ranged generalist rusher, with his stats having a 300 range and a 1200 damage. While having a Legaluga seems promising, though once you look into the details, you start to question it. I mean, for starters, why does it have an Omni Strike with no peers? Negative 700 to 300. I mean, is it for when it clips through the enemies with his fast speed of 20? A talented Can-Can outruns Legaluga. Well, it still has a range of 300, so you can still use it as a good mid-ranger. A range of 300 is an extremely weird range, as the common range for a mid-ranger is around 350 in order to counter enemies that are also mid-range, most of who are usually 340 to 300, which will outrange Legaluga. So most of these stuff is an attacking any enemy. Well, every rusher in the game has its purpose, such as Eddie countering Rally, Kimura countering Flag, so on and so forth. And if you just want to use a generalist rusher with a huge raw power, use the Wicked Bahamut Man for free. Its cons of having a longer recharge time than the average rusher and a lower knockback count than usual is what makes it even worse at its role. Its immunity to knockback and warp doesn't so other than that, it's best to use any other rusher. I know that but he's definitely better than Legaluga by a mile. Still has a lot of flaws that needs to be pointed out. Babel is a mid-range tanker who has 300,000 raw health. That is extremely big, and not only that, he is insanely tough against red and floating enemies, meaning that against them, he has 2.1 million health. And that's not all. And against the bosses red and floating, 3 million. These are extremely insane numbers. So why is he this low? Well, as much as it helps in making a literal wall, what's the point of having a wall if it's going to be standing behind your frontline unit? Yeah, as said, he has a standing range of 390, which doesn't allow him to take all of your hits for your other cat. Okay, but this can make him a good Urashimataro with a mid-range tanker where they always land good hits, thanks to Babel's 7,000 damage per second. Even if you use him like Urashima, his attack animation of 3.7 seconds makes him more than likely to win. So remove that idea. His immunity is more stable, having him use knockback, freeze, slow, and Totter, which are uncommon for other tankers, so he can be good counters for enemies that cost him debuffs, such as Professor A or Gobble. So why not use Super Wrist that can simply do that job and do more outside that job? His extremely high cost of 6,750 makes him even more inconvenient. In the end, High Lord Babel seems promising, though it has so many cons that makes him extremely inconvenient. Looking at the stats, it's extremely strong, having nearly 100,000 health with 400 range and 12,000 damage per second. So the biggest deal is that he does insane damage against black enemies, meaning that he will do nearly 70,000 damage per second, which is actually insane. He will obliterate any black enemies he encounters, making him clear even the most popular anti-black, such as Bomberman and Pizza Cat. Musashi is near perfect and has literally 0 flaws. Yeah, he's given single attack, which limits him heavily in stages that contain a lot of peons. Against black, he kills or at least takes huge chunks of health off of them, which is amazing. So the problem is that stages with black enemies come with a lot of peons, so he'll simply be hitting the peons rather than the bigger problem. Also, he has a 2-part multi-hit, meaning that his damage is halved, which can be a good thing and bad thing, as he can get rid of the 2 peons, so when he finally reaches the big enemy, he may just land his first multi-hit, causing a knockback. Of course, for extremely new stages, such as Zero Legend, stages that are known for having new enemies, it's not that since in reality the damage per second is half, he can be compared with He's given cost there, which clearly wins, so other than that, you can't just be your only anti-black in your loadout. All in all, Musashi only strives in stages that have little to no peons, with problematic black enemies, which is virtual fun. And Mr. Gene is a well-enough nuker who deals 23,000 damage per second against floating and red enemies, with a long distance that has 150 pierce and a 400 standing range. She's extremely basic, and yeah, 23,000 damage per second is amazing, though red is easily power crept, so expectations are high, but floating can actually be pretty good. Still, her semi-weak stat of having 54,000 health and a standing range of 400 makes her a little bit risky compared to other anti-floating nukers, so if you're willing to risk it, she can be rewarding. Akuma is another nuker who does insane damage against treeless enemies, resulting in 26,000 damage per second against them on a 450 standing range. He has 34,000 health and a 3-part multi, and yeah, he's extremely fragile for a return of an amazing amount of damage, though some traitless have a high knockback count, resulting in only 1 to 2/3 of the actual DPS being received by Akuma due to his multi-hit. Other problems such as not having a faster recharge time for a fragile unit and a movement speed of 20, making him rushing the front line concerningly fast, makes him even less likely to survive the field. Even with all of that, 26,000 and 26,000 is especially against trees, so keep in mind of that. View him as the worst, disgusting, putrid person of Shadow Captain. Generally one of my favorite cats, as one of the comments say, kind of looks like a warrior character. Stats-wise, she's a mid-ranger who has a 3-part multi-hit, with the first hit resulting in a level 8 wave attack and a guaranteed freeze against red, black, angel for 2 seconds, with her second and third hit simply being pure damage. She has a standing range of 375 with 9,000 damage per second. Her wave combined with her freeze makes any and all of these traits freeze for 2 seconds, 2.4 if we include the freeze rate, which is amazing, as it lets your other units feel their damage. Her immunity to waves is nice for the traits that make cost. She's a wonderful class controller, though again, just like past Super, she's extremely fragile. Her health is okay, and she only has 2 knockbacks, meaning that she can only reposition herself once. Most of these legend risks can be compared to now will have a better survivability. With Momoko, she can be compared to Little Valkyrie Dark, as they are both made range and guarantee a wave. Sure, Momoko has a better range and has a debuff, though Little Valkyrie Dark has a 2.5 times faster cooldown, in which she will be more than likely in the field longer than Momoko. In the end, Momoko is still a decent class controller and damage dealer, albeit a fragile one. In my opinion, the most underrated legend rare in the game. Dr. Heaven is a Dark Heroes legend who in its first form acts as a ranged tanker and in its second form, a nuker. She's mostly used in her second form as a nuker who deals around 5,800 damage per second on a 400 standing range. Though against Black and Alien, she does insane damage against them, resulting in an insane 34,500 damage per second. She has an amazing raw health of a whopping 187,000 and has a good survivability and speed. So it's just a little thing such as slow recharge, attack enemies, the range of 400 is what draws her back, so none of these are too big to avoid the bad. She is the best, so she's alive. mixed stages containing aliens, where other alien specialists may have a hard time. Oh yeah, and against Black, she does a fine in the job, though her 2-second attack animation is a huge drawback, as Black enemies are known for having a huge knockback count, making her miss. You mostly use it as a good nuker against aliens, though if you have other anti-alien supports, they'll be less stronger peasants. From the epic set. She has a raw health of 117,000 with a range of 400. Since she has a 3-part multi-hit with different hit slots, her actual damage per hit is 11,900. That pierces upwards to 450. It may seem weak at first, though her insane damage against against Traitless, each hit will be around 60,000. Here's the 450 can actually be decent. As mentioned in the download, if it activates, it lets you deal an extra 180,000, which is amazing for Traitless. So once you apply all the abilities, you get a unit who does 11,000 damage per second against Traitless with no flying spot and a 450 tier. She can be comparable to Aphrodite, though she gets heavily praised, as aliens are known for having backrunners, thus Aphrodite's peers can be put to good use. Traitless don't really have huge backrunners with a 450 hit. She's best used as an like the wave immunity is weird, though her immunity to freeze, current, is more than welcome. 2.5 seconds, which is nice if the field gets too chaotic. All in all, a unit will get rid of any Traitless if given the proper time. Anicristamu is a wonderful anti-zombie nuker and tanker who deals a whopping 38,000 damage per second and with their raw against zombies, they can take damage to 70,000. This makes them a little bit weird. 400 has the biggest range of any unit with the wave shield ability. Where are they anyway? Oh, yeah, he's given the slowest speed possible for a unit, which is 1. This makes it extremely hard for Crystal to go into the front of the squad and wait for so it's best to use in order for them to come to get rid of this potentially bad enemy attack. Now once you use them like that, they can become extremely useful to make zombie stages less annoying. And to be honest, stages that are short and have zombies in them, Crystal can and will shine heavily. All in all, a weird yet a great job for an anti-zombie. Lumina is the best anti-alien specialist of all time. Okay, but for real, their stats easily justify their crown for being the best anti-alien specialist. With a cheap cost of 3,675 and a fast recharge of 75 seconds, they have a raw health of 136,000, with being able to be insanely tough against them, resulting in 952,000 health. So that's not all of them. They guarantee a weaken against aliens for 5 seconds, which is longer than their attack. Here considering these guys will have 1.9 million health against aliens, which is amazing, as she guarantees weaken plus a barrier break. The reason why Lumina gets more praised as a mid-range tanker than Babel is because they help other units perform their job better, rather than being greedy and try to do the jobs themselves, the ungrateful unit. Also, they don't have any drawbacks, such as a slow attack animation, so they can land a nice damage per second of 6,800. They also have a fast movement speed of 30, which is amazing as they'll earn their way up to the level. Their immunity to slow and warp is amazing for alien field stages, and that's matches their cheap 3,675 seconds will allow you to always have at least one Lumina in the field at all times. Of course, as a specialist, they can't thrive as much in mixed stages, so their fast and cheap convenience allows them to be a better pick compared to other anti-aliens. Though in the end, Lumina is the best anti-alien of all time. Now this is how you make a good anti-alien. 4,500 damage per second and a standard range of 400. He deals the same damage against them, resulting in 22,000 damage per second. Having a 76,500 health and a standard range of 455 makes him able to live for an extremely long time. Get out. But what makes him even better is his long distance ability. Yeah, he's able to pierce upwards of 245 and an inner range of 165, which is amazing. Plus, guaranteed attack. There really isn't anything else to say about him. He does an incredible job against creepers. Good job, man. Wakaru is the definition of the Angel Destroyer. First, let's focus on his first form. In Wakaru's first form, he's a cheap, spammable anti-melee angel with a low cost of not 925, but 825, all with the fast cooldown of 6 seconds. With a standing range of 250, he deals the same damage against angels, and is resistant against the treated as a 84,000 health and deals 16,200 per second against them. It was literally our courier for courier. 16,000 damage per second for the low price of 825, and he ain't even weak, he can take the Angels well. Overall, an incredible melee for Angel. Now for his second form, Colossal Bankhead. He becomes a nuker and a tanker, as they have a standing range of 450, with a health of 128,000 with 6,300 DPS. The same abilities of the same damage and resistance are there, so against them, he can take big he will also support of Angel Doges, gone. Angel Labori, gone. Lazir, gone. Get ahead of yourself. Both forms are genuinely amazing, as one is the cheap melee alien killer, and the second is the ranged guaranteed angel kill. If you want tomorrow, consider any angel you encounter gone. Emperor's Head is an extreme generalist cloud controller backline, standing at an extreme state range of 551. 501, they really don't like this. Who can deal an impressive 5,000 damage per second, and most notably, a 30% chance at freezing, slowing, weakening, and or knocking back traded enemies. With Emperor Cat, you can debuff just about any traded enemy in any way you can. This can be amazing, as when enemies begin to push back, you can just deal with them thanks to his 551 range. If it feels like activating it that day. Yeah, with the price of a 30% chance, it's still not a guaranteed chance for a debuff. It's 76% to be exact. So still, the chance is extremely high, and 4 seconds of a debuff for any trade is too good to ignore. It's best to treat him as a second-based unit rather than your main. And once you use him like that, he can pair up with just about anybody. Like the Luga? Yeah. Serpent? Perfect to protect KG? Of course. Tapu? Yeah. Long story short for Emperor, people sure will kill any enemies in the field, but he will make sure your units will be safe in the range. Toyo Saka is a generalist long-distance legendary who compares upwards of 350, and has a 2-part rotate that results in 4.4k DPS.